Key to speaking fast in English, weak form. Good day, everyone. Today, I want to talk about an important aspect of the TOEFL speaking section, delivery, specifically how to improve your speaking speed. As you may already know, one key factor for achieving a high score in TOEFL speaking is maintaining a high WPM, words per minute, ideally around 150 words per minute. In my experience, speaking speed often matters more than perfect pronunciation. That is, faster speakers tend to score higher than slower, overly careful ones. Why? Because the tasks require you to summarize content effectively, and to do that, you must convey as many ideas as possible, which means saying more in less time.
Struggling with English pronunciation? Dr. Nanhi Burns knows the challenge firsthand. As a non-native speaker from Korea, with a BA and MA from Korea University in Seoul and a PhD from UC San Diego, she spent decades trying to sound natural in English. Like many, she was told to just watch TV or shadow native speakers, but without a foundation in pronunciation and rhythm, those methods didn't work. After years of frustration, she finally discovered the missing piece: learning the mechanics of English, the vowels and consonants, stress patterns, rhythm, and melody, all based on real linguistic principles. Now, Dr. Burns brings that system to learners everywhere in her pronunciation and prosody courses. Previously available only on Audible and Amazon with 5-star ratings, these highly acclaimed courses are now offered in video format on her website. Written by Dr. Nanhi Burns and narrated by Dr. John Burns, a native speaker, this course gives adult learners the tools they need to speak clearly, confidently, and naturally. Available now at nanhiburns.com.
Understanding English rhythm. To speak English faster, you need to understand how English rhythm works. Linguists categorize languages by their rhythmic patterns, which is to say what provides regularity in speech. In English, such regularity is achieved by making stressed syllables occur in the same interval while speaking. For this reason, English is called a stress-timed language, unlike most languages in the world. For example, Korean, French, and Spanish are syllable-timed languages, where each syllable takes up roughly the same amount of time. To speak quickly in those languages, you shorten each syllable evenly. But that's not how it works in English. In English, native speakers speed up by shortening the intervals between stressed syllables, not by speaking every word faster. In a stress-timed language like English, slow speech means there's a longer gap between stressed syllables, while fast speech means the gap is shorter. To shorten the time between stressed syllables, English speakers often reduce the vowel sound to schwa, or drop some sounds or even unstressed syllables, a phenomenon called elision. These reduced sounds are softer, mumbled, and sometimes barely noticeable. If you haven't trained your ear, you might not even hear them. Viewed in this way, in English, there are two types of pronunciation: strong forms, the full dictionary pronunciation; weak forms, the reduced versions used in natural fast speech. Weak pronunciation usually affects function words, words that carry the grammatical structure of a sentence, not its main meaning. These include pronouns he, she, we, you, auxiliary verbs, would, should, have, do, is, articles, the, prepositions to, of, at, conjunctions, and but, or. Function words are very frequently unstressed in a sentence, and when they are, their vowels often reduce to a schwa or disappear entirely. This is crucial for achieving a native-like rhythm and flow in English. Let's consider some examples. Examples of weak pronunciation. All right, let's walk through some real examples of weak forms in everyday English. These are the kinds of reductions that native speakers use all the time, especially when speaking quickly. Let's start with some of the most common function words: of, have, to, or, a, and the. These often get reduced to the schwa sound, that quick, relaxed sound that's barely noticeable if you're not listening for it. Take of, for instance. Instead of clearly saying cup of tea, a native speaker might say cup of tea. Now, what about have when it's used as an auxiliary verb? In a sentence like they've gone or could have done that, it gets reduced down to or sometimes just v. It's super quick. Blink and you'll miss it. Next is to. This one almost always becomes ta or just when spoken quickly. So got to do it becomes gotta do it. How about or? That softens to ar or a. So this or that Now let's talk about a. In almost every case, it gets reduced to a. Instead of a cat, we say a cat. The same goes for the, especially before a consonant. So look at the cat becomes the look at the cat. Moving on to some auxiliaries, has, does, and is. These are really commonly reduced, often down to just z. For example, he's here, not he is here. She's gone. How does he do it? Might sound like how's he do it? You hardly hear the does. Then we've got words like would, should, could, had, and did. These often just collapse down to a deh sound when used in contractions. So instead of I would do it, you hear I'd do it. I had eaten becomes I'd eaten. Where did you go? Might sound like where'd you go? Even faster, you'll hear something like go. Now, here's where it gets tricky. These reduced forms can be so short and quiet you might not even realize they're there. Let me give you two quick examples. First, get me a book. In fast speech, it might sound like get me book. That little S sound at can disappear completely if you're not paying attention. Another one, where's the office? You might hear where office. That's because is gets reduced to z and the drops down to the or nearly disappears altogether. And that's exactly why these weak forms are so important. If you don't train your ear to catch them and your mouth to produce them, you'll always feel a step behind when listening or speaking in fast, natural English. Why weak pronunciation matters. Let me tell you something that surprises many learners of English. Some of the most important sounds in English are the ones that are barely there. These reduced, weak pronunciations, the little sounds we often overlook, are one of the biggest challenges for non-native speakers when they're listening to fast, natural conversation. They're soft, fleeting, and sometimes almost invisible. And here's the twist. You can't always rely on just your ears to catch them. You need context. You need grammar knowledge. Without those, the sentence can feel like it's missing pieces. Let's paint a clearer picture. Imagine you're watching a show like Kim's Convenience. You've got characters like Appa and Uma, first-generation Korean immigrants who've been in Canada for years. They speak English just fine and are completely understood, but their speech often reflects the rhythm of Korean, which is syllable-timed. So Appa might say something like, I am go to store for few minutes. Now, the meaning's clear, right? But it doesn't quite sound like native English. A native speaker would say, I'm going to go to the store for a few minutes. What's the difference? It's not the vocabulary. It's not the grammar rules. It's the rhythm. The way function words like am, to, for, a get softened, reduced, or even dropped in fast, natural speech. Without that reduction, the sentence sounds robotic or broken, even if the grammar is mostly right. And here's the catch. If you're learning English and you only say what you can clearly hear, you'll likely skip over these reduced forms entirely. Your sentences may come out sounding choppy or even grammatically off. On the flip side, if you try to pronounce every function word in its full form, like saying I am going to the store with full emphasis on every word, it sounds overly careful, too slow, and, well, unnatural. That's why learning weak pronunciation is not optional, it's essential. So what happens when you do start learning it? You begin to hear more, you start noticing the little sounds, the instead of the z instead of is. Your listening improves because your brain knows what to expect. And on the speaking side, you become smoother, more fluent, just natural. Now, it's true, there isn't just one way to reduce every function word. Weak pronunciation depends on what comes before and after the word, how fast you're speaking, and even your intonation. But the good news, these patterns are learnable. With a little training, you'll begin to predict and use them with confidence. In the next part of this lecture, we'll zoom in even further. We'll look at exactly how these function words are pronounced in real speech. We'll break them down into 5 key groups: weak forms of pronouns, weak forms of auxiliary verbs, weak forms of articles, weak forms of conjunctions, weak forms of prepositions. We'll listen, analyze, and practice together, because mastering weak pronunciation is one of the most powerful steps you can take towards sounding fluent in English. Stay with me.